Podcast.
And I guess right there's the cue to probably jump back in as it fades way too quickly, I remembered now. Where it's just like, oh crap, it's fading, oh it's gone. I better start talking pretty quick here. Welcome back, Burning Barrel Podcast. We were going to have 3 people here tonight. Next week, I think, will be the night, so keep tuned for that. But for right now, it'll just be me, Paul, and with me is Hank.
Hello.
So, it's been a week. You got everything out of your system last week for all the year-end stuff, and we had a whole bunch to talk about. And this week, I don't have a whole lot to talk about, but what I have to talk about was kind of disappointing. So, maybe I'll just jump right in. I played Diablo II again. And
yep, I was watching that.
I kind of wanted to revisit that. So the biggest problem I had with it, first of all, is that it's still $9.99 on the Blizzard store for a digital download, and then $9.99 for the expansion for it, which is probably fine price-wise because it's still a game that they have servers up for one thing, even though it's full of spammers and all the worst things on the internet. But it's playable. It is a game that you can buy and download. However, the download took, I think, about 2 hours total to download 2 gigs worth of content. That's 1.4 something gigs for the main game and like 400 megabytes for the expansion. The main game took about an hour and a half to download, and the expansion took half an hour to download. What the fuck, Blizzard? Those are the worst download servers I have ever seen, and I play League of Legends. That's all I have to say about that. Other than that, the game itself was probably okay. I don't know. It was one of those things where it's like, I played this so much growing up, and I loved every minute of it, that you can't go back. Like, going back to it was kind of one of those, like, oh man, this was a time and place sort of thing, and it just doesn't hold up at all, especially because there's other stuff out right now that does what they did back then, but with modern equipment and graphics and like game design and all that sort of stuff, or even just taking like a few of the elements from Diablo II and making it their own, like with Torchlight and whatnot. And there's even free-to-play options. Like, I played a little bit of Path of Exile again tonight to get back into that, and that game is way too complicated, but it's basically what Diablo II was back then for like this generation worth of graphics and hardware. Like, I don't know, man. You just can't go back sometimes, and Diablo 2, I think, is the perfect thing for that. So you were watching a little bit of it. What do you think?
Yeah, UI is like the big thing when you go back to old games that they've improved on so much. Like, you don't even realize it until you go back to those old games. Just how much better UI is right now.
Yeah.
It's also, yeah, like, and my comparison point for like Diablo going back to games is like StarCraft. StarCraft kind of holds up better despite being a little older, in my opinion. Although its online stuff is sort of similarly weird. And when I've gone back to Warcraft 3, their online is just as full of bots. Like, there are all these games being hosted by bots that are empty in Warcraft 3 now.
Yeah.
Custom games, it's just really annoying. Like, oh, I can play this. Oh no, there's not actually anyone here to play this.
Yeah, I mean, for Blizzard stuff specifically, going back to the old stuff, I think the only way you can go back at all and relive a little bit of that fun is to have a group of people that want to play it with you, so you could do some, like, maps in Warcraft 3 multiplayer or something, some custom maps. Like, the infrastructure is still there to do stuff with people, however, the people are gone, and now it's spam bots, basically, taking up everything else.
Sure.
I actually got Warcraft 3 and Frozen Throne as well, and that game has a whole host of problems running sometimes for me as well, but that's a whole different story, I guess.
I've had a fine time trying to run it on my computer the couple times I did. But the thing about Diablo 2, it's like parts of it seem really old, and parts of it seem like really forward thinking. Like,
Yeah.
just like the way all your armor shows up on your character, like just the amount of enemies and like the speed at which you're running around all seems great. it seems like a little slow to like get up to where you're getting interesting abilities. So it's getting more interesting mechanically though.
Yeah, I think a big problem back then, just seeing how they do stuff now, is that Blizzard really has like that carrot on the end of the stick done perfectly now, where you every level or two levels you will get something. Like they might be a little something, and then in Warcraft or World of Warcraft's sake, it'll be like every 15 levels will be a big something. Every I think 10 levels will be another kind of big something or whatever. Like whatever they want to do with the game. But it's streamlined to a point where you're always getting a little bit of something, and Diablo 2 goes back to a day where you don't really get a little bit, like the little bit of something is basically stat upgrades, and those are kind of boring. Whereas, like, I would rather just have a whole new ability. That's where Diablo 3 comes in and did it perfectly, where it's like every level you will get another rune to kind of change up an ability that you already have. So they're kind of giving you new abilities, but they're just based on the abilities that they give you right from the start of the game, basically. So there's always that carrot for you. And then every 10 levels in Diablo, you get another passive, which just makes you all around stronger. And they put all that stat tracking stuff into the background. Like, you get stats, but it kind of just levels you up automatically in what, like, your character's class would get better with. So, like, the wizard would get more intelligence, say, and like a little bit of dexterity and is charisma even in that? I can't remember. A little bit of strength to like hold some heavier stuff. Whereas before, it was very much one of those games where it's like, no, I need like 20 strength, so I am gonna pump up all 15 of my skill points into this or whatever, so my rogue can wear basic plate. And then that was my upgrade for 3 levels, is now I can wear a higher armor class or something. I don't know. It was a dark time. It was the worst of times, but at the time it was the best of times. So,
Yeah, yeah. Watching it was giving me flashbacks to playing EverQuest.
yeah.
I might revisit that sometime soon.
I would love to see that because I have never actually played EverQuest. I have seen people play it, and I've heard the stories of people losing their character or something, or getting duped into giving some guy shit and then killing themselves. Like, I don't
Yeah,
know.
shit could go bad. After you stopped streaming, I like was looking for EverQuest streams, and like there was one guy who had like 10 viewers streaming, and he was just like there were people just saying the word fun, clearly really bored, and like why am I playing this?
I got a little bit of that last night too, playing Diablo 2, where random people were obviously joining because I was the one guy with like more than one person watching. So they would come in and just be like, "Yo, you doing up to level 99, son?" And it'd be like, "No, are you fucking crazy? Like, of course I am not doing that." Like, it. First of all, I don't know where you live, but it is 11 p.m. at night for me. This is clearly a level 3 character. I am not spending the next 48 hours farming levels. I'm not doing that. And even if I did, you wouldn't be there the whole time anyway, so fuck you, basically.
Like the other thing with big thing with revisiting EverQuest now though is like they made it so much easier to level.
Mm.
Like worse, even like more than WoW has, like to a ridiculous degree. Like I played it for like a day once and gained like almost as many levels as I had ever gained in that game, and these were all above where my character had gotten at its max.
Wow. All right. So is that game more about like a gear grind later on, or is I heard the problem with EverQuest back in the day wasn't necessarily even leveling up was hard. It was because so many people were playing it, and it had that old design thing of like, say you needed to kill a certain mob for a quest, there would be 30 other people waiting for that mob to respawn. Then somebody would tag it and kill it, and then the next 29 would be waiting, and it would be like that sort of grind, and it wasn't necessarily something like it's really hard to gain levels. Is there any like credence to that, or?
Like there were quests in EverQuest, but I never even engaged with the system because they were always so sort of obscure
Mm.
that at the time I wasn't into getting them. It was way more about finding an area that I knew, like I could get to it if I died.
Hmm.
Finding a group and just leveling together.
Okay.
Because a lot of EverQuest is your mana. There's like no way to quickly regenerate mana. So
Oh.
you have to sit. You have to be sitting to regen mana. So you need like a if you're a healer. I was playing a healer. I was playing like a support class.
Hmm.
There's so there are only a few classes that could solo. So basically you had to find a group of 5 and like you would set up in a place and the tank would like run off, grab some mobs and then run back. Cuz in EverQuest in a zone, once a mob had aggro on you, it would follow you until you left the zone,
Hmm.
which left to a lot of hilarious. A person running through a zone, training every mob in the zone to it, then going to the front exit and having all those mobs be stuck there for any person that walked in would just get murdered.
Oh, so they would stay at the edge of the zone too. They wouldn't reset.
Yeah, they would stay at the edge of the zone for a while.
Amazing. That's so
It's
fucking bad.
great.
Oh man.
It's so funny if you did it to people.
I'm just thinking and wow, like there was one
And
spun particular later on in that game, which were the plague lands, where like it was easy
yeah.
to just drag thousands of fucking things to you. So if they just spawned right by like the entrance to it, you would never get in.
Yeah, and every time you die in EverQuest, all your gear and stuff is stuck on your body.
In
And
the
you have
same
to
way in
go get
Diablo
it too.
3, like do you pick up your body or does your gear fall on the ground for other people to loot?
You have to loot your body. To
Okay.
loot your corpse, and
Oh,
it has all your stuff on it.
okay. Hmm. All right.
So
Well,
if you die in a place with enemies, you have to like be able to get to it.
yeah, Diablo 2 has that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, which could be really bad. So you're doing this little dance of like, do I have something I can throw to aggro them and then pull them around the corner and then run, grab my body and run away or something? Like,
Yeah. So I never. So early in the game, like the only way to there were like boats to get around. They eventually made the moon where you could just teleport around the world.
okay.
But originally you'd have to get on boats, and boats were super glitchy, and you could just die, fall off, and die, and lose your body forever. Like it was a super risky thing to do to get on a boat.
So
It
if
was
you
fun.
lost your body forever, as you say, like in the deep ocean or whatever,
Yeah.
is that shit just gone? Like you have to start from the very beginning to grind out new gear?
Yep.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
I think. Yeah. Like. Yeah. It's bad.
Are
It's
there still
real
people
bad.
playing it?
Yeah, they still are selling an expansion you could buy right now. I think it's free to play for the most part.
For EverQuest 1?
Yeah, it's still running. They still have multiple servers up. Like I installed it I like looked at my character screen and I went, "No, I can't do it right now. I can't."
Is your character still there?
Yeah, it's been leveled up to 85. I think I only ever leveled him to 34 when I originally played, and then
Oh,
I leveled him at some point.
oh, so it
Like at
took
some point they
your
boosted
experience
one
up.
of your characters.
Oh, I see.
It's like that's like a thing. You get one character automatically boosted to level 85, and you can buy extras.
Oh, dude, you're
I
totally
think I have
right.
one because I think I'm a silver member because I've paid for the game in the past.
How do you get to be gold then?
Well, I think there is a gold anymore. I
Oh,
don't think there is a gold. There's like all access mode now where you pay 15 a month and then you get access to stuff like
I'm
global chat.
I'm looking here. EverQuest is now a free-to-play game on Steam, which I will
Oh, it's on
be
Steam.
downloading right after we're done this. This weekend, I think I'm going to try it. I think I'm going to get in. I'm going to be so mad at everything and stop playing probably.
Yeah.
But I don't
It's
know.
like because it has the thing where like when you start out, if you're anything other than a like a warrior, so where your just regular attack is strong, you
Mhm.
mostly only have to rely on your regular attack for the early levels. So every enemy is like a huge challenge, and you could die.
Great. That doesn't sound fun at all. I'm
It was
excited.
great. Also, you have to have food and water like exists like actual food and water. You have to have food and water on you, or you get hungry and thirsty. You just sort of eat it over time.
Do you remember in
Doesn't do.
WoW when you had food and water and it actually like was a thing you would have to sit after like a few pulls and eat because you didn't just regenerate everything all the time?
Yep. It was like a huge step up from playing EverQuest. It's like, oh my god, I can eat and I like regen health and mana. This is so fast.
So when you were eating or like drinking in EverQuest, it didn't like help
It
your
was just a
health or
thing that
mana?
it's just a thing that you could do it or it would happen. Yeah, you just had to do it to not die.
So you would
It was like
die.
your DayZ. Yeah,
Wow.
if you didn't have food or drink, you would just die eventually.
Wow. All right. That's rough. I bet at the
Also,
time it was cool though.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it was just really cool. Like the thing about EverQuest was it was so much fun to think about. Like in your when you weren't playing it, like as a kid, just like knowing EverQuest existed would like tantalize me.
Mm.
Because
Yeah.
I didn't even get like I knew about it before I started playing it. Like I didn't get to start playing it until it was like a 5 year old game or something at least.
Is that before or after RuneScape?
I think it's like a slightly older thing,
All right.
newer than RuneScape because the graphics are more advanced than RuneScape's, so I assume it's a later game.
So March 16th, 1999 was EverQuest. And RuneScape is way later.
Oh wow,
RuneScape beta in JavaScript was January 4th, 2001. So,
wow,
yeah, that's
wow.
a full
EverQuest is
2 years later.
yeah. Like EverQuest also, it was harder for my computer to run it than to run WoW.
Why is that?
It was just more intense. Like it wasn't optimized well at all. Like it
Uh,
was a classic thing where you'd go into a zone and just if it was a populated zone, you just look at the floor because then your frame rate would be good and you could move quickly. And you just bring up the map so you could see where you were going.
that's kind of
Because
weird.
there was instead of an auction house,
Mm-hmm.
there was a bazaar,
Mm-hmm.
and each seller was like a character mounted in a physical place in there. So when you went in there, you lagged like crazy.
Okay, so you had to load them.
Yeah, you had
They
to see
they were
all of
part of the
them.
environment or whatever.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow. Well, I mean, Blizzard has always been good at optimization. Like, if you don't like
for sure.
anything they've ever done, you don't like their character design or their games or their gameplay design or any of that stuff, you can't ever say that they don't make stuff that can run on almost anything. Like, they are
Yeah,
very
they
good at
prioritized
optimizing.
that.
Yeah, and it's done
It's
very well for
great. Like
them.
that's why Blizzard was my favorite. As like someone who owned shitty PCs.
Sure.
It's like I could buy a Blizzard game and it'll work on my crappy PC.
I,
Like couldn't say that about most PC games.
I remember when Diablo came out, we had like the first iteration. We had our first Windows computer ever. It was like I don't think it was even 95 because 95 was an upgrade later on. It was probably 3.1 or something. Like I don't even know. It might have been 95 by the time Diablo came out. Now that I think about it, but either way, it was like this thing is very very slow. The internet connection is very very slow. Trying to look stuff up, but and I was just like, I don't think this is gonna run. My friend had a much better computer, and he's the one that actually got Diablo first. And we used to go over to his house, and like he would play, and I would watch, and then we would take turns, sort of thing. It was just kind of cool to be playing a video game with people from around the world and all that sort of stuff. It was the cable guy scenario. Could be playing with your friend in China, Mortal Kombat or something. But it was that, and I was just like, well, like their computer's pretty decent because his dad was a principal of a school, so they would get like the hand-me-downs from the school budget, like computers and stuff like that. So the computers from the school were decent, and I was just like, there's no fucking way my computer will run this thing because it's like a box sort of thing. You
Yeah.
put that disc in. It took forever to install, so I was just like, "This is the first bad sign." Started up, everything was perfect. There wasn't a single problem with the netcode. Everything ran perfectly fine in its glorious 15 frames per second gameplay. It was a great time, and it was just like, wow, this is amazing. And then later on, I think about a year or 2 years later after that, I got StarCraft and Brood War and all that stuff, like later when they came out.
Yeah.
And I have never, ever had a problem with a Blizzard product until Diablo 3 came out. And I don't know what happened, but like Diablo 3, when on my old computer, when it first came out, didn't run like at all. But then later on, they patched it or something and it ran fine. So maybe it was just some weird day one stuff.
StarCraft 2 had a similar issue.
StarCraft 2, I
Like,
still have a little bit of problems with, and I think it's something in the game or it's not working well with like my OS or something, but I don't
I
know.
don't know. When it first ran, like none of the cuts, all like the game ran okay on my computer, but the cutscenes were all fucked up.
And when you're
Really
in
weird.
the ship, like on the bridge and stuff, talking to people, that's where I found problems too. But the game, yeah, like you said, the game was fine, like the RTS portion, but
Yeah, it was really weird.
the cutscenes never. It was weird. It's weird when cutscenes don't work because they are literally just watching a YouTube video. Like,
Yeah. I was like, why is this not working?
yeah.
Yeah, didn't make sense.
And yes, Marshmallow, I am a Blizzard fanboy. Fucking deal with it. But yeah, anyways, so I played Diablo 2. If you want a Diablo 2 experience like it was back in the day, download Path of Exile because that is it to a T basically with way more shit added that gets super complicated, which might be something you're looking for anyways because Diablo 2 got pretty complicated later on with the expansion. They added like rune wards and stuff or rune words and stuff that you could add to your equipment to like boost their strength and those idols or those charms that I had as well that you could like keep in so you could do some weird min-maxy stuff. It's kind of like that, but way more complicated with the sphere grid like from Final Fantasy X, but like if you were to take the Final Fantasy X whole sphere grid, that is half of one part of this sphere grid in Path of Exile. Like that thing is fucking huge to the point where when you level up all the way, I think you have 118 like skill points you can put into it, and you won't take up even half of that thing.
Jeez.
It's ridiculous, and you can do different builds and stuff. Like you can basically make a warrior who's more focused on strength go into like the magic tree because they all intertwine with each other. I don't know. It is an amazing feat. And like I was saying before, if you want more like a more stylized version of Diablo 2, the people that worked on Diablo 2 went on later to form Runic, and they did Torchlight, so look that up. Or if you just want Diablo from them themselves, I mean, Diablo 3 is playable now, so which I think kind of ties it nicely into, I see that you played some Diablo 3 you have here, so
Yeah, you know I played Diablo 3 because
I,
we played it together.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
It's yeah, I find Diablo 3 I finally liked it. I didn't like it at all at first when I first played it. My first experience with Diablo was a bad one because it was playing the PlayStation 1 version of original Diablo,
Yeah.
renting it in the video store. That had bad load times too.
Yeah, I could see it. The PlayStation wasn't that powerful even back in its day.
Nope. Yeah, PlayStation games are like games that a lot of them don't hold up as well as they should.
That whole era, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Diablo 3 is a lot of fun. The carrot on the stick is like perfectly calibrated.
Yep.
You're just always getting stuff, all the fanfare when you level. Your abilities are interesting. That you can change any of them on the fly
Yep.
is great.
And completely change how you play the game.
Yeah, you're just like, I'm getting bored of this. I'm gonna try playing sort of completely differently and just switch up all my skills.
I'm going to try throwing a bunch of weird ice gargoyles into a spot. Yeah. What is that skill anyway?
I don't remember what it's called.
Are they ice gargoyles? Like, is it an ice-based thing?
No, it's an arrow based thing. I think I had a rune on it that made it that.
Oh, fair enough. Okay.
I think it's just a rain arrows the spell.
Oh, I see. Okay. Cool. So, but you're liking it so far?
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. It's a lot of fun to just jump in, play with people.
Mm-hmm.
grind out some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's just fun times.
I mean,
And
on that topic, I've been
really,
playing it too. So
yeah. Also, what I really like is it was like the branch of Blizzard I wasn't into, and
mm,
now I have like that. I'm now into that, so it makes all those Heroes of the Storm characters mean that much more to me. I get a whole new slew of Diablo 3 cutscenes to enjoy
yeah,
because Blizzard cutscenes are so good. They're so good.
I'm gonna go ahead and say though, they are very very good. Diablo still has the worst of them though. They're still not as engaging
That's
as the other
true.
two or
But that
three.
cutscene where what's her name when she's first possessed by Diablo and shows up at the gates of
Yep.
that's a great cutscene.
Yeah, it
That's a
is.
great cutscene.
I think there's maybe like 2 or 3 great ones in all of Diablo 3, but that's probably enough, I guess.
Hmm.
I don't know. I'm just like, who would you say has what game of theirs has the best cutscenes?
I mean, the thing with WoW was like for a long time they weren't putting cutscenes in the game.
Yeah,
They would like put them as like patch trailers,
yeah.
but those like mattered the most to me, kind of.
Is it because of
I feel
the
like
time investment and the lore investment? Maybe.
yeah. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
the lore investment is definitely helps too.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the parts of StarCraft that matter most to me didn't happen in cutscenes, whereas there's some like really cool stuff that happens in WoW cutscenes that matters to the story
You know what's
or
weird about
Warcraft's lore
StarCraft
cutscenes.
is, do you remember Kerrigan being turned into the Queen of Blades from StarCraft 1?
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, that was just kind of an in-game thing. That wasn't a giant cutscene or
Yeah,
something.
exactly.
It's really weird, right? Because that's something Blizzard would do now. But
Yeah, it
that,
was mostly in-game stuff.
and it's the most pivotal moment of that whole series. It was
Well, also
almost like
like
an off-camera thing. It's just like, oh, Kerrigan's dead. No, she's not. She's this person now. Game. It's like, what?
yeah, what happened? Yeah, like yeah, the StarCraft 1 cutscenes, they were like they were just weird. Like they weren't involving any of the characters.
Mm-hmm.
There's like that Hydralisk versus a Marine video, like the beginning.
Those were cool though.
They
Starship
were
Troopers.
cool. Yeah. But also there's like that in the Protoss story, they like kill the main character. Just
Right.
move on to someone else.
Right.
You're like, wait, what?
I'm so glad that with Warlords they were doing the cutscenes like in quest stuff because it just made it and the end of a zone, like the end of a major lore heavy quest line, it just makes it so much cooler. Like it's just so much better.
Yeah, it gives you a good reason to finish the zone. Like they started that with Cataclysm, but like the zones were like their own little story that was self-contained, but they didn't play into anything bigger like they do in Draenor.
Right. Man,
Like
I
the
don't know.
Harrison Jones stuff in Cataclysm in that one zone. It's funny,
What
but
was that zone called again? That was the Egypt zone, basically.
yeah,
I
I
can't
don't remember what it's
remember.
called anymore.
Yeah, I can't either. That part, that was the most Indiana Jones thing they've ever done. Like, just straight up. I mean, obviously Harrison Jones, but I mean, that
Yes.
specific quest line was the most Indiana Jones they've ever done. It was fantastic. And Thrall kicking the shit out. Oh man, that cutscene is so good. It's not even like their good quality of like pre-rendered stuff. It
I
is
know.
just like their
It's like
in-game
in-engine.
machinima
Machinima.
stuff. Like it was
Yeah,
so good.
yeah. That their machinima stuff has come a long way
It has.
from like you like look at just some of the early like I've gone back and looked at some of the earlier WoW cutscenes for patches.
Hmm.
Like when Garrosh and Thrall show up at Dalaran even.
Hmm.
It just looks completely it's like wow, they've come a long way since even then.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I don't that. Oh, Blizzard stuff. It's just it's so polished. That's what it is. That's all it is. They know what to make you want more. And it's kind of infuriating, but I love it because they let me spend money on them and get more. It's my addiction choice next to the drinking, the smoking, and the meth. Yeah.
Yep.
Either way, you're liking Diablo 3, so that's good.
Yes, I'm enjoying it a lot.
And you're almost level capped with your main character.
Yeah, you level fast in that game.
It feels faster than before, but I also wasn't playing with people before, so that's probably why. There's that buff when you're with party members, like you get more experience in gold. That's smart, actually, because I think they're playing to the strength of Diablo 2 was fun with people, and now this is even more fun with people because you will get more out of it, really.
Yeah, now that they've gotten rid of the in-game auction house, they're just totally playing to that game's strengths. In like doing, they've got it. Like they know what that game needed to. They figured out what that game needed to be, and they got it there.
Yeah, no, for sure. And they took out that terrible fucking auction house and made loot drops, like, relevant again.
Yeah, a loot game where the loot isn't like good or doled out at the right amount, it fails.
It
Like
does.
you have to nail that, and they've nailed it now.
Yeah. Because they still don't give you, like, unless you're Mark, they still don't give you legendaries all the time. They give you, like, a bunch of crappy shit, like, with a good mixture. Like, they spice it up with quite a few blues in there. And then some yellows here and there, more common. And then when you get a legendary, you're kind of like, yes, this might be something, and then maybe it isn't, but it doesn't really fucking matter because that loot lust is so strong in you. And whereas before, I think I was saying this a little bit before, but their kind of plan was you would get decent loot. It wasn't doled out properly though, and it wasn't doled out for your class a lot, so you would have to essentially almost grind out an area to be able to do the next area to get enough loot to like move on, where like you weren't even looking for a big upgrade back then either. You were just looking for a blue that would even increase your stats a little bit, because this game more than ever, if you don't have enough loot, like the proper loot, you can't move on because the loot is so tied into your character where, like, I can't remember what it is for my wizard, but for my crusader, for example, strength is like their primary attribute. And instead of going up whereas like 10 strength is like 10 damage or hit points or whatever, it goes percentage wise for your main stats. So like 10 strength is like 10%, or is it 100%? I can't remember. I think it's 10%. 10% additional like damage or whatever. So the first thing you're looking for in that example is that you want a high damage item, and then you want a high strength build or something with your loot, because that's going to increase your damage by 2,000% or something. Like, it's kind of weird that with working with the percentages, they've tied loot so closely to your character that you kind of can't move on. And that's what made it grindy and shitty before. Because with the auction house, what they were kind of expecting is players to pick up whatever loot they could and then try to sell it on the auction house, get some in-game gold or some real money currency out of it if you were going that route or whatever, and then use that economy gold to buy your upgrade to keep moving. And I didn't want a spreadsheet like auction house economy simulator in my Diablo. I just wanted to get the loot and keep moving on, which is what they finally made it. So I don't know what they were thinking. I'm glad they fixed it. I'm glad they killed that bad idea. And it's amazing how fun it became almost overnight when that happened. Like, it's ridiculous.
So much of that game is like you just want to keep going, keep going. You're just rolling through.
Yeah.
If you had to, like, every time you got something worth selling, you had to stop, go to the auction house, put it up there, and then just go back to what you were doing without getting an upgrade, it would like kill the momentum.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I don't know. it was a ridiculous idea, and I'm so glad it works now because that game still doesn't have some of the most memorable or best places that you visit, though. There's some places that feel like just a drag. Specifically, I hate all of the sewer shit in Act 2. That needs to never happen again. They need to never do an act where, like, out of 20 places you visit, 15 of them are sewer systems. Like, I don't
I
know.
would be happy if sewers are never in video games again. Pretty
Sewer.
much.
Oh, oh, I'm so mad. I'm so mad at that act. I also don't like Act 3 very much, but at least it's not sewer based. Also,
Mm.
deserts. Deserts are boring because they are wide, expansive nothing, and then enemies in that nothing. And it's just, I want to be able to see stuff. Like later on in 4, when you're in heaven, it's cool because there's parts that are really nice and glowing heavenly, but most of it is being like destroyed and shit by Diablo and his devils and demons and stuff. So there's some background stuff of like angels fighting off a bunch of demons or a bunch of dead angels on pikes everywhere and stuff like that. That shit is cool.
Yeah,
That
it was really cool that when I started up again, my character was like right up to fighting Asmodan and then getting to that part.
Yeah, the Asmodan fight is pretty cool too. Where it's kind of like, I'm just for anybody who hasn't seen it or played it. Asmodan's basically like at the end of this giant battlefield and corridor and stuff. So you're basically going across this like battlefield of demons and all this shit. You reach them and then there's a fight
And he's
basically.
like talking shit to you along the way constantly. You
Yeah,
just want to kill him really badly.
and then they give you that opportunity. It's so good.
Exactly.
If anything that Act 4 has a problem with, though, is that while heaven, like the desolate heaven or whatever, is kind of a cool thing, it probably still lasts too long. I feel like their areas that they put you in might feel a little too long, where you just want to keep moving, so it feels like you're moving through, like, an expansive universe and not through, like, 5 rooms or something.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of like reused assets and on the map.
Yeah.
Like they reuse areas. So it feels like it wanted to be a procedurally generated game, but it's not.
Mm-hmm.
So it feels like if they ever made a Diablo 4, they'd have to go procedurally generated stuff.
That's weird
I
because
feel like
2 was procedurally generated. So I don't know why. Like, it is to an extent every time you start a new game,
yeah,
but it's not
changes a little bit.
at the same
Yeah.
time. Like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, for a game you're playing over and over again, it's pretty samey.
Yeah. Yes, it is. It's still real good, though, and it's even better with
So,
friends.
it's fun.
It is
It's a
fun.
fun game. They unleashed the fun. They stopped holding the fun hostage.
Yeah, they unleashed it. Another gripe about it, I could say maybe, is that when you're playing with friends, they should maybe up the chance that you can like pick up something that somebody else in your party could use. Because I kind of that was the thing with Diablo 2 as well, is that I always kind of liked not the fighting over loot. I like that everybody gets their own loot, but I kind of like that I would be able to pick up stuff for wizards or barbarians or whatever, and then just be like, hey, I found this, you want it, sort of thing. Like that little trade thing when you're back in town and just kind of waiting to get back on the road. Because if you pick up a lot of stuff for your own character, which is great when you're playing single player, but when it's multiplayer, I would like if maybe instead of 90%, 10%, it would be more like maybe 40%, 30%, 30%, 30%, or 30%, 30% or something, and like split up that way. So you're still going to get a lot of stuff for your character, but you might also get like something for like I might pick up something for you, like a demon hunter. Like I've been dropping as many things as I've been seeing just to see if like you want them, because I'm not going to use them anyways. I'm just going to break them down into salvage anyway. And I've maybe dropped like the whole time we played 10 things total out of
Yeah.
like probably at least 10 full inventories worth of stuff. I don't know. They should
Yeah.
up that a little bit, because I've always liked the interaction with like between your friends and stuff, playing that you could trade stuff or whatnot. But Maybe that's
Yeah.
just me.
Also, upgrade from Diablo 3 from Diablo 2. The just automatically picking up gold. Such a big, huge thing. So good. Such a smart change.
Like, yeah, it is a smart change. I know the reason why it's different though is
Hmm.
because they in Diablo 2 it kind of wanted you to fight over stuff. So like it would
Hmm.
drop say a legendary item and like
Yeah.
1,000 gold or something, or like it would drop 5 piles of 200 gold. You would be like fighting over that. You would each grab two and be fighting over who could like pick up faster to get that third 200 gold or something. Whereas this,
Hmm.
since it's all generated for your own instance of the game, it doesn't matter. Which leads me to another point. Why don't you just have an option to set in your inventory or your options menu that like auto pickup or radial pickup anything above like a common grade of item, because I'm going to pick it up
Hmm.
regardless and sell it or do something with it. So let me just take it as I run by.
Yeah, that's kind of true. But also, yeah, games are way less more now about making you hate your friends. Unless it's Mario.
I don't know what it is with Nintendo. They don't want they have always been adamant that you have to play local. It is great to play with your friends, but let us give you software that will make you hate each other. I don't know.
I feel not all. It's really just Mario. Like Donkey Kong games, the Donkey Kong games, you don't really end up hating each other because you don't like land into each other. And they made it so if someone jumps on an enemy, it lasts an extra bit of time for someone else to jump on it too.
Hmm.
So like they actually figured it out. But Mario, they're like, nah, you're just gonna be grabbing each other every time you press the run button and then throwing your friends.
Son of a
It's
bitch.
like friendship destroyer.
I don't like those new Mario games, the new Mario Wii or Wii U, like the 4 player side scrolling platform. I don't like those games with people. They're fine
Yeah,
single player kind of, but they're built for more than one player. So,
only really the Wii U one is built for more than one player. Like that's the real thing with the Wii one. They just put extra people into it. Those levels weren't designed with that in mind. Whereas the Wii U one plays a little better with multiple people because they put a little more thought into it. But it's still a shit show.
that it is. Uh
World is kind of worse because characters run at different speeds.
that's well, I mean,
Like Toad is faster than everyone else. He doesn't jump as high, but he's faster.
so that's
So
exactly like Mario 2.
every time you, yeah, they have their Mario 2 powers. So every
Oh,
time you come out for the final run to the flagpole for like a boss level, Toad is always gonna get there first because he's just faster than everyone
that's
else.
kind of irritating.
Well, that's why I was playing as Toad.
Ah, so you're the irritating one then in your group.
Exactly.
Yeah.
My friend wanted to play as Toad, and then he realized he couldn't jump as high. He's like, "Wait, no, this is really annoying."
Who's the best character to play as?
I mean, I like Toad just because it's faster. Like Peach has the hover move, but she's slow. Like it just like makes the game not as fun. But I
What?
think Toad is the most fun for me
So what's
because he's
Mario?
running
Just kind
faster.
of an even, like
Yeah,
he's decent speed.
he's Mario.
Okay.
He doesn't jump as quite as high as Luigi. Doesn't have a hover move. He runs at a normal speed. He jumps at an average height.
Is Cat Mario your favorite Mario?
The cat power is real good.
Okay.
It's real fun.
Climbing up stuff.
Yeah, and also you can do like a dive attack. Is also cool. But
Cool.
since we're talking about 3D Mario World, I wanted to talk about a particular level I played,
Okay.
which is in the Star World, which is you get after you beat World 8. It's level 6, where they turned it into a shmup, basically. It's
Okay.
top down. You start out with the boomerang power, and there are like waves of enemies. It's fixed scrolling level. So the camera's moving at a fixed rate and it's top down. So you can like run around like it's shmup and you're shooting like waves of beetles that are coming down in rows. Like there's even one of the green stars you have to kill all the beetles that come at this one part of the level. then they put the cherry power up, which was new to the game at a point. So then there are like two of you, like you have an option, so you could both shoot with the boomerang.
Hmm.
Like it's weird. They took the regular mechanics in the game and made a shmup level. It's
That's
cool.
odd. Hmm. Does it play okay? Like,
Yeah, it was fun.
okay, good. So level
It was just a
star
cool thing.
6. Star 6 is a
Yeah.
level.
Yeah.
Hmm. I still kind of want to pick that game up and play it sometime. It looks fun.
It is. I enjoyed it.
And you were
If
saying
you liked 3D Land,
Yeah, that's what I was going to get
then
at.
you'll like it.
Okay. Because I notoriously hate a lot of 3D Mario games. I hate Galaxy. It is
I I don't like the Galaxy games.
I
I
hate
don't
them.
enjoy them.
No,
Yeah,
there's something
they're not
about
fun.
them. They didn't get something right, and I can't put my finger on it. It's just maybe it's the level design or something. Like
There's
they
no
went.
run button. There's no run button.
Is that true?
Yeah. You just control your speed with the stick.
Huh. Maybe
Because of
that's
how
it.
the Wiimote is shaped. Wiimote and nunchuck, I think.
Right. Maybe that's it then. Either way, I hate those games.
That's why you shoot fireballs by shaking the controller. You do the spin move and then you shoot fireballs.
I hate them. So many people say they're the best. Those people are wrong. They're terrible.
Also, like after every star, you have to go back to the hub world and then go through the level select all over again. Too much downtime. Too
Yeah.
much downtime.
Yeah, no,
Not
that's not
focused.
good.
I don't think I don't. People talk about those games like they're great, and I don't think they are.
They're not. They're very, very not good. Just like Mario 64. It's a bad game. It might have always been a bad game, but I'm not sure. It just is now. That's all I have to say about that.
But you can play it on the DS. You can play as Wario.
I bet it probably controls
Or
a little
Yoshi.
better on the DS. I'll give it that. But
It controls actually really good on the 3DS because then it plays more like 3D World, where you can use the like for that 3D space, the circle pad actually works okay.
right.
Whereas using a D-pad for Super Mario 64 doesn't work great because you don't have that analog control of your movement.
Yeah, sure. I could see that. I love Mario Sunshine. Not
Never played that one.
that is barely a Mario game. And I think that's why I love it is because with that I can't remember the name of it, but your water pump thing that changes like to different faucets and stuff like that. It just completely changes that game. Like it reinvigorates Mario in a great way. I hate the setting for it though. The Defino Plaza or whatever, or Defino Island, because I hate those.
Delfino.
I hate those squishy, like elephant-looking fuckers. I hate them so goddamn much, but it plays great. That is a fantastic game. That people are weird with Nintendo products. I've noticed they hate everything I like until they replay it and then they love it. Like, it's weird. It seems like for a long time the internet was just like, nah, man, fucking Mario Sunshine's the worst one. It's just like, I don't know about that. Then they see, like, Chugga Conroy play it or something, and they're like, it's, like, the best one! It's like, yeah, no, you're right. It was, because it dared to do something different.
That's like every Nintendo GameCube game.
Oh my god. So many people... Actually, there was a weird disconnect for a while there, where when the GameCube came out, it was the opposite. Where so many people thought bad games were so cool, but they weren't at all. Like, oh man, Luigi's Mansion, this shit is the bomb. It's like, no, it's not. It's a bad puzzle game. Like, it's really slow moving. It's like, it's cute. It's charming, kind of. It's a bad Mario is missing game, though, with puzzles.
Bad Mario is missing game. Doesn't have King Kong in it.
And like the other thing was Zelda 2. There's one thing I hate first of all before I go on. I'm going to go off on a tangent here. When people say, "Oh, people just didn't like Zelda 2 because it was so different." No, motherfucker, you can't be different when you can't be different than a thing when you're the sequel, because there was Zelda 1 and then Zelda 2. If anything, fucking Link to the Past was different because it didn't try to replicate what Zelda 2 did. Eat that shit. That game fucking sucks. It's actually not that bad. But Zelda 2 is my favorite of the series because they dared to be different with it. They didn't just do Link to the Past, which ripped off the first one and then just upgraded it. They tried to go for like an RPG element with the dungeon crawling sort of thing. There's so many fucking weird things in that game and they stumbled and fell a lot of times, specifically in Zelda 2, but I like it because it was different and it didn't just feel like Legend of Zelda 1. Also, when people say that there's some weird shit you have to do in Zelda 2 that there's no way you'd ever be able to know without fucking Nintendo power, they obviously haven't played Legend of Zelda 1. They just haven't.
Yeah, for real.
Like, how do you know to burn that bush because that was the entrance to the last, like, fuck you. You're an idiot. At least in Zelda 2, there were villagers everywhere, and there were specific ones that would give you hints so that if you thought a little bit outside the box sometimes, or sometimes they would bluntly tell you, you knew what to do or what to look for. But
that one guy's name was Error.
Yeah, no,
His name was Error.
I mean, they stumbled and they fell a few times. It's okay. It had its problems. It really did.
My favorite Zelda game is A Link Between Worlds because it plays the best. Plays the best.
I gotta say, I really don't like Link to the Past very much. I love A Link Between Worlds though, and I'm not sure why. Maybe it was just enough time had passed, or I like that game better as a handheld game or something.
It plays better.
It straight up does.
Recently. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like A Link to the Past, I really like watching speedruns of it. Like they're interesting, but I don't like playing it really. Like speedruns of it are pretty cool though.
I feel like there was a time where I liked to play Link to the Past. Like, legitimately, I hooked up, like, my SNES again after a few years of, like, the first game I want to play is this, and had a decent time with it. But I think those times are way gone because that sounds like the worst idea to me right now. I can't imagine wanting to put that game in. I don't know why, though. Maybe because Link Between Worlds did the same kind of basic thing better. And I have that, and I still have to finish it. I just kind of dropped it when other stuff came out. There's some cool things with that game, though. I really like that you can just buy every item right from the beginning, so it focuses more on you exploring around and not just following this linear path, going palace to palace, so you can continue on, like, appropriately. You could just buy all your shit, and, like, I have the boomerang right away. What are you going to do now? Nothing. Because I have the boomerang for whatever reason.
Just can't buy the sand rod.
Yeah. Or can you after?
You can't buy it till you rescue the guy who has it.
Yeah, okay.
Because I like that there's like some other adventurer out there. He's like, I'm going to save everyone. I got the sand rod. And he goes into a dungeon that doesn't require the sand rod. Like, what are you doing? Aw, you fool.
I really liked Ocarina of Time at the time. I don't think that holds up in the least at all, but it's still...
I don't like how any of the 3D Zelda games play, really.
That's probably fair.
I like a lot of... Like, I like conceptually. I really like Ocarina's cool ideas. Majora's Mask, cool ideas.
Yeah.
Wind Waker, cool ideas. Like, I love that Wind Waker is, like, the world of Ocarina is actually the map. Like, I just think that's cool. Like, the world drowned.
Yeah.
Just the ideas behind the game are cool.
I hate Wind Waker.
Playing them, I don't like playing them.
I hate Wind Waker. I hate its shitty little pretentious kitty-ass art style. I hate everybody who thinks it was a good game. I hate sailing. I fucking hate sailing. I hate looking for Triforce pieces in the ocean. I like that last boss fight, though. That last boss fight in that game is pretty neato. So I will say that. That felt good. But
the part where you have to, like, hide, it's like stealth, like, pretty early on, It's
Terrible.
like where I'm like, no, this is bad. This game is just not fun. What are you
Oh,
doing? Oh,
that's like the first area you go to, like first
yeah.
island. Yeah, you're right. I remember that.
Like, why is this? No, it's bad. This is boring. Why is this here? Also, I when I tried to play that game, I literally got stuck at a part that's like a tutorial in the bottom of the ship with jumping on ropes. I couldn't do it. I literally couldn't do
Oh,
it.
where you're jumping on ropes to, like, on platforms to another rope to get across the thing in a certain
Yeah.
time.
Yep. There
Yeah,
was one of them. I just couldn't do it. And then nope. I can't get any farther in this game, I guess. Can't keep going.
fair enough. Yeah.
So like I just don't like 3D Zelda games, I think.
Y- mm,
Ocarina of Time, like I really enjoyed fishing in Ocarina of Time back in the day.
yeah, it was great.
And I liked a lot of the atmosphere. But I never like got anywhere in that game.
I really like Twilight Princess, but there is so many. There is a whole litany of fucking problems with Twilight Princess. It felt the least like a Zelda game. I think that's what I like about it. There are some useless items, though, in that. There was a spinner that you literally only use for one dungeon, and then you never use it again.
Like I watched a friend play through that game. I just didn't like the dungeon design when I was watching
Oh,
it.
no, the dungeon
Like,
design was
dungeon
bad.
design seemed really bad.
It is.
Like it was just boring.
Mm-hmm.
It was really boring to watch.
Always
Whereas,
remember
like,
the ice
which-
dungeon where you have the push block puzzles on the ice. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Like I think Majora's Mask is the most fun to watch of the 3D Zelda games.
It is maybe the
Like
worst
that
playing.
The impending doom
Yeah,
of like the music,
yep.
it's real good for watching it.
That's what makes it the worst playing, because it takes the shittiness of Ocarina's 3D control and puts a time limit on it.
It's like there's all this pressure on you to
What-
do it well.
I like that. I like the idea that that whole game is like Link dying and just like his basically death dreams as he's dying, which makes so much sense. It's so good.
Yeah,
Ugh.
I like all the like the ideas about going to specific places, specific times to like solve people's problems.
Yeah.
Like I like all that shit. I just don't like the parts of it where it's Zelda.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I
But
completely
I
agree.
think it's conceptually really, really interesting
Yeah.
and fun to watch. That's what I'll say about Majora's Mask.
I never played Skyward Sword either, so I can't say anything about it.
Skyward Sword has these like sections where you have to collect. Skyward Sword has some brutal parts, just fucking awful. Where you have to like collect shit and you have to get all of them in one go. And if you're like stealthing around shit, and if you get caught, you have to start all over. I was watching a friend play it and just getting stuck there for a long time. It's just like he never even finished the game.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah, it was bad.
Speaking of terrible, I played a game called BloodLust Shadowhunters.
It did look very good.
That is the title. BloodLust Shadowhunters. Shortened down to BloodLust Shadowhunters, probably because they were told this is a terrible name. You gotta do something to shorten it a little bit. So they did it. They took out the one word that actually describes what the game is about. Vampire. So it is basically Vampire the Masquerade that plays and feels a little bit like a really, really bad Kingdoms of Amalur. That's how I can describe that game. Like the way it moves,
It sure looked bad.
yeah. So this is an early access game made by an indie studio, and by indie studio, I think I'm being a little too polite. It's probably a dude in a basement somewhere, and then asked a bunch of internet people to help. Totally fine way to do stuff. This might be what you call pre-alpha build. It is really, really basic.
It also seemed kind of ambitious for a game made by a dude in his basement. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's trying to do too much, so it does none of it well.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, yeah. So I don't even know where to go with this. So okay, let's like picture a third person action RPG. Now, you have your life and resource bar or mana bar or whatever. I can't remember what it's called in that, like shadow bar, shadow play, life force, I think, is it? And you also have another meter that is your thirst meter because you are a vampire, so you need to drink blood. And you have another meter, which is your stamina meter. Fair enough. You also have a few abilities, one of which is your most important ability in the game, which is to transfer basically your character into a little floating ball of something so you can reach areas and go through traps and stuff like that you couldn't normally before to trigger secret areas or to like progress in the game. It's basically, it seems like the most important mechanic that is number 3 on your numpad. Like, it's not even like a full button dedicated to it like E or Q or something if you're playing with a keyboard, or like maybe a trigger or something if you were playing with a controller. It is literally just kind of like an it's not even one on your it seems like the afterthought thing, because and the game actually tells you in the tutorial. First of all, the way this game starts off is like that I got almost instantly frustrated and like, oh shit, about is that it says we recommend new players to this game do the tutorial because it basically says you're not going to figure this shit out unless we tell you, which is 101 for the worst game design ever. The player should always be able to figure something out, even if they are a complete idiot. That is why Nintendo games sell so well, is because they make games for idiots. So, if you want your game to do well, maybe don't scare everybody. Like, I have played a few video games in my life. I feel like I've played enough that I know how to troubleshoot problems when I'm in an area, look around appropriately, and take what the game has taught me from the very beginning about how it's built and apply them to what I want to do to continue. Hence, like, for example, a door opens, I can walk through it. That's probably, like, that's the first thing. I can walk through an open doorway. That's actually an important thing to know, because in this game, there are invisible walls in the ceiling. So there's one part where you basically get locked into an arena room, and there's a door that opens up, enemies come out of it, that's where they spawn, and then you fight them or whatever. Your first inclination is spawn areas are usually walled off. Like, this is a door that only opens to, like, let something out to attack you. So you attack it or whatever, then you're looking for a way to get out of this room. You're thinking, okay, I'll use my little vampire eye orb thing, because this game taught me that this is an important thing. That's fair enough. So I look around, I don't see anything on the walls, I don't see any cracks on the walls, but I do see a little ledge just out of reach. So I'm just like, okay, this game has taught me that the open areas or whatever are usually fair game, and this eye thing will let me go reach areas that I couldn't reach normally. It's also in complete 360 like control. You can go up, down, left, right. You can go any way with it. Okay, this is what I have to do. Nope, there's an invisible wall, so you have to find another way. Okay, well, it still clearly can't be where the enemies spawn, because that door only opens when an enemy wants to spawn. So let's keep looking around. Oh shit, wait. I'm gonna go see if I can walk through this fucking area where yeah, there it is. Like, it's the weirdest thing. Why are they putting the secret switch where the enemies spawn? Because in every other video game ever, that is literally just like an invisible wall with a like tick on it or something that says spawn enemy every 20 seconds or whatever it does. So that game has some weird design problems with it. That is being generous by just saying they're weird game design problems. Everything so far that I played in that game is totally fixable, but like you said, it seems like it is so ambitious. It is trying to do a lot of stuff that AAA titles have taken on before and failed doing properly. And the voice acting in it's not very great either. It sounds like a bunch of people with mics like you or me just at home. Like, I had a long day at the coal mines. Let's go record stuff for this video game.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I, as much as it pains me to say, I do want to play more of it. I want to get to. I feel like I'm still in the tutorial area. I want to get past that and see, like, if it opens up a bit. I want to try the bite mechanic out to drink blood. It seems like it has kind of a cool idea where there's, like, a lineage line, and it seems like if you bite people, they will be, like, in your lineage and they can bite other people, maybe, and you are, like, the head vampire of that, like, line or something. There was a little bit of that in there in one of the menus, and if that actually fills out, that is amazingly cool. Like, that would be so cool to put in a video game like that. I have no faith at all that that's going to work. But I have to try it because if there's any brownie points that this game gets, it is that it is trying to do Peter Molyneux type business for the vampire genre, and it will probably Peter Molyneux out and either not come out or fail on all of its promises. So take that for what it's worth, I get. But that game is in early access right now. It's in alpha. I will probably revisit it if they ever release a beta or like a giant patch and say a lot of shit's fixed, because as much as I don't like it from what I played, I want there to be something there. And I think that's a dangerous road to go down, where I just want them to conjure greatness out of less than dog shit. I don't know. I don't think it'll ever happen, but I'll keep on that. That game is like $15 too.
Never too late to stop being terrible. Diablo 3 proved it.
Diablo 3 did prove it, but they also have the best artists and designers in the world, and it still took them a year and a half.
Video games are hard.
Honestly, they are. They are.
People shouldn't be releasing early access stuff because it, like the way that they are sometimes, because it just turns, like when you're releasing a game that's like bad, it just turns people off.
Yeah. There was a weird moment there where one of the voice actresses is somebody I kind of know. And it was just like, I am gonna unfollow you on Twitter.
Come on, everybody takes work or
it's
jobs
true.
with it.
It's true. I just hope she's not the traitor. I hope she was just like the intro voice, which she might be because she was like the last credited. If she's the main traitor, honey, you don't have a career. Like, you're not gonna go anywhere. You got to get some classes or something. I mean, I'm not trying to be a voice actor here, but god damn, it's real bad. It is really fucking bad. At least the dude who plays like the first guy you talk to gives it a little oomph and tries to go for something. Like, he changes his voice up and does this like, I'm supposed to be a head vampire or something. Like, he's doing some weird shit with his voice at least. He's not just talking, and terribly at that. This is just unnecessarily rude right now. Getting salty. I'm getting fucking punchy, and I don't know why, because I don't care really about this game. I just want it to be good, maybe.
But you did spend time in it.
And money. I actually purchased it. I gotta find out how much it was, because I might hang myself tonight.
US.
It's yeah, so it's $15 for us. Yeah. Maybe shell out the extra $5 and buy Vampire the Masquerade, because those games are old, but they work, and they're decent. They just look bad.
Buying an indie early access title might actually be worse UI than old games.
Like, does Diablo 2 have a worse UI? No, it doesn't. Like, why am I even thinking that? Diablo 2 still has a UI that, even just looking at it, you know what each part does.
Yeah, exactly. You know what things mean at least.
Moving on. I'm kind of angry. Um,
That's what you get for trusting a vampire game.
yeah, I played Battlefield 4 a little bit. First time ever. It's
Okay.
that is a beautiful game. That is a really nice looking game.
Mm,
It shoots okay. It has
mm.
some warfare tactical bullshit stuff you can do, squad mechanics and getting your different weapons on and throwing C4 on stuff. Like, I don't know.
Did it work?
It's a war game. It works fantastically well, actually. Actually, a funny side story to this: the reason I played Battlefield 4 was because it automatically downloaded. Now, it automatically downloaded because my Origin account was hacked on the weekend. I got an email at 10 a.m. on Sunday morning saying that you're changing your username or whatever. You're changing your email. Do you want to accept this? And I said no. And then it didn't matter because right after I said no and like to try to change my password, it wouldn't let me into my Origin account to change my password. And then I got an email from Russian EA that said like check a blah 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 or whatever the fuck Russian bullshit it said. It was the same email but in Russian saying like you want to change your email back to my email, which was me. So this guy changed the email and the password in the account already, and then when I tried to get it back, it sent me a Russian version of that email saying somebody's trying to hack your account, even though it was already closed out. So I was just like, this is really fucking bad. So I called EA. I called EA, and they have a thing where it's just like you don't actually call EA. You basically go to their support site, push a button, and say like, "Do you want us to call you in?" And then like whatever the allotted time is for when a representative to get to you. In the morning, it was 1 to 1.5 hours. So I was like, "Yeah, fine, let's do this." Push the button. Okay, I'm just gonna chill out, I guess. I was gonna go to breakfast, but I was like, no, this will probably only take an hour. Worst case scenario, maybe like a little bit over. It actually took 2 hours for them to call me. They called like and let it ring once and then hung up right away when I didn't answer. So I got fucking mad. Went to watch some TV, fell asleep on the couch for a bit, woke up, and then basically did it all again. And this time it was like 2.5 to 3 hours. So I was like, fuck, whatever. Do it. And yeah, I talked to the representative, the lady on the other end, and some Russian fuck named Ivan Boom at gmail.com, in fact, changed my name. Boom. Exactly. She was like, okay, can I have your email address so I can look up your account? Yes, it's this. Okay, that's not coming up in our system. Can you give me your Origin ID name? Yes, it's this. Okay, that's not coming up in our system. Could you give me the order number or receipt number from like your last purchase? I was like, absolutely, I can, because I keep every fucking email that deals with purchases. So I give her that. She's like, okay, yeah, we were able to find it. The reason we couldn't find it before is this guy changed the account's email address. He changed the name of the account and changed the password and the birth date and even like the avatar and stuff. I was like, okay, so this Russian piece of shit just completely hijacked my account. She's like, yeah, basically. So she was like, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to reset it. I need you to click on the links I send you, blah, blah, blah. We got that all figured out. Dude, I fucking hate Russians, but like this is like the Cold War all over again. They should have gotten nuked while we had the chance. They should have been fucking glass, man. I'm sick of their bullshit. I mean, it's one thing to kill a whole bunch of your own people. Stalin was a genius. He understood what had to happen. He had to kill his own people because he knew that they were hacking Canadian and American Origin accounts all fucking day long. I know I'm saying some stuff that you don't know what to say to right now. That's totally okay. But anyway, so we got that all fixed up. I changed it back to all my stuff, and we put an extra Yeah, see, Crisco Disco knows what's up. I put up like whatever security things they wanted, and I
Mhm.
realized like everything. This is the weird thing is that when you get hacked by a bot, it's usually they change all your stuff to like ASX like 635E whatever, like a whole bunch of random
Yeah.
shit at like mailbot.com or something. This
Mhm.
was a dude. This was a 15-year-old kid or something. No, it was actually a 20-year-old or probably 19-year-old who took my
Mhm.
account probably just to play games and buy games because his email and username all matched up, and so did his avatar. Like his avatar, he was like trying to be cool. It was like an army dude or something, and his email account was like Ivan Boom 95, and he changed his birthday to his actual birth date, 1995. Like it, I think it was some kid just basically like hijacking a car for a joyride or something,
Mhm.
knowing that I would get it back eventually, because nothing was purchased, nothing was changed except for like the name of stuff and whatnot, and nothing was
Yeah.
even downloaded yet because I was like trying to get to it all day.
Mhm.
So I don't know, man. It was really weird. Like I was kind of expecting PayPal to just start emailing me like crazy, like, "Whoa, you're trying to spend like $1,000 on games. What are you doing?" But
Mhm.
no, nothing happened. This kid just stole it to basically play the games I purchased, and then I felt a little bad because I have like 3 games on Origin. It's like you picked, like maybe go to my Steam account next time, bro. You're not gonna have much choice here.
He
But
just wanted to play Battlefield 4.
so yeah, this is what I was getting to.
No, he wanted to play Syndicate for free.
He stole my
'Cause they put
account to play a free game.
because they put Syndicate up for free on Origin.
I thought for a second maybe that was the new Syndicate, but no, it's that old one.
No, it's the old one.
I want the new Syndicate. I need to play it still. That kind of leads me back to what happened though. Basically, I think he set up like Battlefield 4 to download or something because it auto downloaded. I was left signed in from when I was talking to the troubleshooting agent,
Yeah.
and then I just kind of closed it, but it doesn't actually close when you exit. It just goes into your
Yeah.
taskbar. So in the background, which is why I was getting such shitty when I was trying to stream as well, like at some point that night, but I didn't realize why I was getting such shitty bitrate. It was because I was downloading a 40 gig fucking game in the background that I had no idea. Anyways,
Mm.
it was the perfect storm of the way I wanted to play Battlefield 4. I wanted to A, forget that I had it and then be pleasantly surprised when I did. B, for not know it was on my computer but be pleasantly surprised when I could just click the play button. And 3, it was late at night and I felt bored. There was no real thing with that. So it just kind of was one of those things where it showed up on my computer randomly. So I clicked the button to play it. That game is beautiful looking. It is a okay shooter. It's probably funner with people because I've seen the multiplayer, and the multiplayer is actually pretty fun looking. But I played the campaign. It's way too self-serious. It tries to do the thing every war game does, where try to put a little bit of like morality in there where it probably doesn't belong in a video game. Um, Press F to feel
Press F to feel.
or to pay respects, I guess. That game was way better because they knew they had a stupid premise and went with it.
Mm.
Future Warfare. They made a Halo game in Call of Duty. That made it way better. It just did. But that yeah, no, that game's fine. I will probably uninstall it because I think it is actually taking up like 40 gigs of my computer, which just is not right for a game I'm not going to play ever.
Fair enough.
Speaking of shooters, though, I see you have Unreal Tournament on here.
Yo, Unreal Tournament is back.
Is it?
This is Unreal Tournament in Unreal 4, I guess.
Oh,
Part of This is the pre-alpha for Unreal. The new Unreal Tournament is out and free. You can download it from Unreal's site. So I guess it was like crowdfunded or something, and it's all they're not doing very much work with it. They're into like they're setting up all this stuff for create user generated content and ways for uh like like with the Steam Workshop stuff, where users will create stuff they can put up with a shot. Epic will take a cut, but the people who create the items will get money from selling like hats and stuff.
Mm.
So like that's how they're monetizing it. So it's super early. Like there aren't a lot of maps, but the guns look real nice
Oh
and
yeah,
it plays real well. Like
nice.
I was playing like free for all snipers only, and you actually respawn like instantly. You just have to click the fire button, and I like wasn't breathing. Like so much was happening all at once that I was like, no, wait, I don't get downtime. I don't get like just like those 3 seconds you get in Quake. Like I wanted that, and I didn't even have that. It was like just constant, and like you'd respawn and instantly die because people like it's really intense playing that game.
That sounds great.
It's great. Like
Hmm.
it's gonna be real cool once it's there are like more maps and people doing weird shit with it. But it plays really good. It looks really good, even though a lot of the maps are like real basic in terms of textures and stuff.
Are they going to
There's like
support
one
a
of the map.
modding community?
Oh, yeah, they have mod tools built in. Like part of downloading it is you have access to all the tools. They have tutorials up for how to build stuff. Like
Huh.
that's what they want. They don't really have any interest in making a game. They want the part of Unreal where people make cool shit for it
Cool.
and they'll just like set it up for that.
Cool.
It's like it's part of like how they made they're setting up Unreal 4 as free for anyone to develop for. So this is part like the other half of that where they're putting out Unreal Tournament and letting anyone make maps and items for it and stuff. So that was
Okay.
like a game like I was throughout the week. Like I would hop in, play briefly, and then feel like oh my god, I need a break. I feel like I'm on speed or something. Like my heart is beating so fast, and then take a break.
So it plays as fast as the old games then. Like just
Yeah,
that's
and that it like
important.
instant respawn time
Mm,
with a game that's just always going. It's yeah, it's
that
crazy.
that sounds
And
exactly
those guns look real nice.
Do they? Hmm.
Yeah, the new models for the guns look real good.
So is this the alpha that like people were giving away a download link to on NeoGAF a little bit ago?
I don't know. You can just go to Unreal Epic's site and you download like a launcher,
Oh,
and it's just
okay.
pre-alpha. Anyone can get in already.
Okay. Cool. I might check that out. I can't
Yep.
remember the last time I had a fast-paced like Quake Unreal type game. So
Yeah, I mean, I've been playing Quake Live, but this is cool because it's like it has like the shiny newness, whereas Quake Live is like those old gun models basically and maps. Where this is a new thing,
cool.
and they seem to be doing it. They seem to be treating it right, like the way you'd want them to treat it, not like we're making a vehicle game. We're gonna like make all this shit that you don't care about.
Yeah.
It's quick. It's like yeah, fast paced. Just boom, 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 boom. Like it makes Counter Strike feel like a really slow game when you play those
Counter-Strike is
games.
a really slow game though. That respawn timer.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, well, I think that does it
That's
for the games.
yeah. That's pretty much it for games.
You have some comics you've been reading though.
Yeah, I read a bunch of comics.
You spend a lot of time reading comics.
Yeah. Also, I'm like pretty fast reader. I
Oh,
can get through stuff pretty quickly.
are you like one of those people that can read like a book in a day?
I can. I don't like. Yeah, I can. I don't really like to sometimes when I'm reading fiction, but I got for school. Like when I had to read a book, I could read a book pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And,
Like
just
those speed readers that just like move their hand down a page or whatever.
yeah, yeah. When I really want to move fast, like I put my finger on the page and I just start moving it down
Really?
and just try and
Huh.
take in it. It's really when I'm trying to like take in a thing fast, not like enjoying a book.
Okay.
It's for like I have to do this for school tomorrow. I put it off for a week.
Yeah. Read Of Mice and Men in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
That book's really short. Anyway, so, but it's a little different with comic books because most of the fun is by looking at the panels and the art and stuff like that. It's not just really about
Yeah.
reading.
I mean, I don't blaze through, but I read at a pretty quick pace.
Hmm. So, which one of these do you want to chat about?
Let's start with Sex Criminals by Matt Fraction
Yeah,
and Chip Zdarsky.
yeah,
It's real fun.
it
I
is.
like their they obviously had a lot of fun coming up with fake porn.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yep.
all the little fake porn things that you see in the corners are really funny. There's like that sequence where there's a sequence of when she was in high school and the other girl who's had a lot more had a lot of sex is like showing her poses and like the poses, the little drawings she's drawing in the
Yeah,
stall for sex poses are all ridiculous.
they're so good though. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I've liked a lot of stuff by Matt Fraction. Like Hawkeye is kind of the most important comic book in the last couple of years. He wrote that. He was the writer for when I finally got into X-Men and was like liking Cyclops. Like, so
Mhm.
I've liked a lot of Matt Fraction stuff. And this is just cool. And I like the idea of like they get this power to stop time from having sex. So they're like, yeah, let's rob a bank.
Yeah.
So they rob a bank.
I think I only read the first two. Like,
Mm.
I don't usually get volumes. I usually get like the issues.
Hmm.
So I think I read the first two. I can't remember where that ended, but I really liked what I read of it. I might pick it up again here. What does volume one have? 1 to 5 or something?
Yep, 1 to 5.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
what's in volume one.
Okay. Cool. Cool.
And volume one was like $10.
Really? Wow.
Yeah,
Hmm.
because it's only 5 comics.
Yeah, I guess so. Seems cheap.
Yeah, but $10 is like the perfect price for a book on a shelf for people to just buy it. Really.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So next, Bandette
Okay.
by Paul Tobin and Colin Coover,
I'm gonna
who are
have to look
actually
this one up.
husband and wife. So Paul Tobin is a writer I really like. He wrote one of my favorite runs on Spider-Man, which was in the Marvel Adventures line, which was their all ages line at the time. That's now defunct.
Okay.
That was and the all ages line was about like telling stories with the Marvel characters as like their iconic look, like where like where they were whatever weird look they had at the current comics doesn't match like what you think of when you think of like the Avengers or whatever from like what they used to look like. Like they have much modern works like this was like going back to those classic looks that you would think of from like a cartoon.
Okay.
So it was just telling stories for kids that in the most iconic versions of these characters. But so he wrote Marvel Adventure Spider-Man for a while. Really good comics. Like he did a really good job of just telling fun Spider-Man stories at a time when there weren't fun Spider-Man stories in the
Yeah.
main book. Well, they continued to where that got there. So I've really liked his stuff. He's very funny. He writes good comedy stuff. And this is like a swashbuckling adventure about a phantom thief, basically, who lives in Paris. It's all about like she does whatever she wants, but she's always having fun. And
Mm.
she has like a group of urchins that like help her out. Like they're 3 dancers, they're construction workers. There's like kids that like just help her like so there's like a senior she's escaping and they all like come to help distract the people chasing her. And she does the thing like she steals from criminals, then she works with the police to stop other criminals, but she also steals stuff. She like keeps some stuff for herself because
Huh.
she's greedy.
Yeah. Sure.
So it's delightful and it's fun.
Okay. It looks neat. I like the art style here.
Yeah. Coover has a good art style. Next is Jack Staff. And I read the first arc from this big volume of comics. Everything used to
How
be
many
black and white.
comics?
I don't even know. Like, it doesn't say on it anywhere. I looked, but it's a lot. But I read this much of it, which was one whole arc.
Hmm.
So and I read this because on comicsalliance.com, writer Chris Sims, he wrote a long thing about this back in November, and he was saying like this was his favorite superhero comic.
Okay. Hmm.
So it's so it's really well paced. It sets up a lot of stuff, like a lot of characters really quickly. It's good at doing exactly what it needs to do. Like it's really economical with all its use of and its layouts are really good. Like it's a technically very good comic. Like if you were a comic book writer, you'd look at this and say, "Wow, like this is kind of impressive." I'm not like as affectionate as he was yet. I have a lot more to read, but it was a really good first story about Jack Staff. He was like a hero in World War II, so it was sort of analogous to Captain America and the Invaders.
Hmm.
But then he disappeared for like 20 years, and he hasn't been seen since. And this is like he comes back. Like this is like he starts up again because he gets found out, and he gets found out by this reporter chick who works for like a super tabloid that like does stories on vampires. That kind of newspaper.
All right.
Her boss is yelling at her about integrity, and then his headlines are nonsense.
Hmm.
So it alternates in time a bit, so that there was this event where they encountered a vampire, and now back in present day there are people disappearing who had like the same kind of attacks that were happening back then.
This looks kind of cool. I'm just looking some of this up here. Huh.
Yeah, it's really good. I'm really enjoying it.
Cool.
That is some good comics. So next is Princess Knight, which is by Osamu Tezuka, the creator of Astro Boy and the god of manga, as he's called,
Okay.
because he basically created manga as we understand it now.
Hmm.
He did a lot of comics, like every genre is kind of ties back to him in some way. So this is from his period when he was writing comics for girls. So it's a story about a princess who gets born with both the heart of a boy and the heart of a girl.
Oh, weird.
Like
Okay.
there's a mix up in heaven at the beginning of the story caused by an angel who's a troublemaker. So one of the reasons that this really appealed to me is I mentioned last time Revolutionary Girl Utena, I think is the best anime, and you can tell a lot of stuff was drawn out of Princess Knight that sort of shows up in Utena, because Utena is about a girl who gets rescued by a prince and then is so enamored with that prince that she decides she's going to become a prince too.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So this is a comic. This comic was written in the 50s, but it's pretty gender progressive for a comic written in the 50s.
Really? How so?
That just like its understanding of like equality, and it's like a lot of like girls can be just as good as boys
That like
kind of
gender
stuff.
really has no basis on humanity, like what people can do.
Yeah, like it starts out with all like the fairy tale. It's like a fairy tale world. And
Mhm.
it starts out with like all the cliches from a fairy tale, but by the end they're like passing laws to make it so that women are equal.
Okay.
There's a big fight scene with all the men having to fight like the women in the castle because the women are defending the Princess Knight, and the women are like they like sew their own outfits. They're wearing pants and they're fighting with mops with
That's
glue on
great.
the end against the men who are all like, should we fight them? These are like our wives and stuff. And they're being ordered to fight, and like, okay.
That sounds great.
It's a lot of fun, and they're I've read these two volumes of it, And there's another volume but this is like the main story, and then there's another volume of comics I have of it that just sort of takes place after, like there, and it's classic fairy tale stuff. Like she falls in love with the prince whose name is Franz Charming. There's a great scene where so there's a part where Franz is going to be made to marry this demon girl.
Okay.
There's like a witch who wants this demon girl to marry a prince so she can take over her kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point she calls on the father of the princess, who is King Satan,
Okay.
to marry them. So he literally says at the like the vows he tells them, he says, "Human Franz, do you, in taking this demon to be your wife, swear to revere the devil and curse the name of God? Hecate, do you swear to serve Franz for the rest of your life and feast upon his flesh once he dies?" I tweeted that panel out. That's pretty great.
So how much of that have you read?
I've read both. I've read this many comics. I've read 2 volumes of it,
Oh, okay.
which was like a full story, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
So, Princess Knight being restored to just having a girl heart, and getting together with Franz, getting all that sorted out.
Cool.
So that was pretty great.
Cool.
It was like an interesting look into stuff that clearly influenced something else I really love,
Oh,
which I always like. I always like being able to track back stuff.
I remember something we forgot to do last week and have been forgetting to do so far.
What?
Does Princess Knight go in the barrel?
No, none of these comics go in the barrel.
Does any of the stuff that we talked about?
Outlaw goes in the barrel.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anything from today goes in the barrel. A Bloodlust Vampire Shadowhunter sounded like it goes in the barrel.
I think Battlefield 4 might as well.
Ooh.
I don't know. I'm just, not because of the game itself, but just because of what it is. It's just like a war shooter. Again.
You're like, yeah, I'm done with this barrel. I don't need this.
Like, you didn't do what Call of Duty did. You didn't keep up to just like fast, stupid gameplay. You still are doing warfare stuff. Like,
This is next gen. We need jetpacks.
put some jetpacks in there.
If you don't have jetpacks, you're behind the times. Next gen.
Those exos are great because they are the perfect excuse to basically make them Iron Man, where they could just like basically float and fly and jump high and punch really hard and like, I don't know. It's the like the next step will be that they are just in like Iron Man suits, or they will be super soldiers. Like, the progression is there, where they've gone from like operatives who are just really good at their jobs to being like they're starting to be physically enhanced. So I'm waiting for Captain America Modern Warfare Edition.
Look, even Halo 5 is going to have double jumps.
Yeah.
Next gen has spoken. Shooters have double jumps.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why this is like the one advancement shooters get to make with the new hardware, but it seems to be a trend.
It's a great one too, because when you go back to a shooter, after you've been playing a shooter with double jumps, when you go back to a shooter without it, it feels really bad. It feels really shitty.
I want more games to have the Quake like bunny hop though, where you just sort of go faster if you keep jumping. It's so weird.
You know what's weird is
That was the
Payday
one
has
thing
that.
Oh yeah, I was watching that Payday video. The guy's getting 25 bags in Shadow Raid.
It's stupid, right? Like how fast they're doing it, and they're doing it casually. They're just kind of like whatever.
Yeah, they're like trying to figure stuff out still. From that playthrough, it looked like.
Yeah, but like they had like 20 bags or something. It's just like, I gotta go after this. By the way, it's just like casual little conversation here and there.
Well, they were like training for some tournament. It sounded like.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's the point, is that that's the way you need to have Shadow Raid down if you're going to talk some smack.
It's true.
That's the call out to specifically Ty, Ben, Peter, Spart in the chat right now. If you want to say like, oh yeah, Shadow Raid, there's no problem, that's the minimum level you have to be able to do it.
25 bags. You have to dupe one bag at least.
25.
That's how they did that.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, if you look in the comments, they said uh, at some point they duped a bag.
Oh, okay. They were
That's how they end
stunned
up
too.
with
They're
free
like,
mods.
wait, 25 bags? Screw you, Paul. I'm just saying, Smart.
Well, they must have run Shadow Raid a lot, and so they're used to 24 or 23.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's true. But, okay. So, if I were to tell you, like, I'm not that fast of a reader, but even worse, I have, like, not a whole lot of time I usually devote to, like, a full series of comic books or something like that. Which of
Mm.
these four that you talked about would you say you should start with?
Jack's, Jack
Hmm?
Jack Staff.
Okay, I was going to say ignoring the fact that you already know I have a little bit of investment in Sex Criminal.
Yeah, yeah. Sex Criminal is okay. Jack Staff is really good. I'm curious to see where it goes, but I really like that series. It's
Okay.
really good.
Okay, cool. Hmm. Well,
Sex Criminals would probably be number 2 on
okay.
that list of recommending stuff for you.
On the cartoon train, I guess. You watched
Yeah,
some
well,
anime?
on the Tezuka train, because this is an
Okay.
anime based on something by
If
him.
if you want to get specific, I guess, sure. Yeah.
So I'm gonna actually read verbatim the summary of this thing that got me to watch an episode of it, because it's an anime from like 1970, so it's real old and real
Wow.
low quality, like cheap animation. But this summary is something, and it's totally accurate. So it's about so Marvelous Melmo.
Okay.
Melmo is the eldest of 3 children,
Mhm.
but at age 9, her mother dies in a car accident. In
Okay.
heaven, God offers to grant her one wish. This
Okay.
wish leads to the creation of Melmo's bottle of age-changing candies, which her mother delivers to her as a ghost.
Uh
Blue candies turn her into an adult. Red ones return her to childhood or can turn her into a baby. If she
okay.
eats both at once, she regresses to a fetus and then can shapeshift into animal form.
Amazing. Okay.
She can also feed them to others.
This sounds so good.
The show was intended as sex education as well as entertainment
Uh-huh.
and touched on issues such as puberty and childcare.
Okay.
As Melmo's clothing doesn't shapeshift, it was one of the first shows to make wide use of panty shots.
Great.
Reportedly hated by Japanese parents for raising uncomfortable questions.
Yeah. Raising a lot more than just questions, I'll tell you that.
So this show is the thing. So with the animal, there's a part in the opening where she turns into a deer and starts like making out with another deer.
Fuck you, Japan. Fuck you. I'm so mad about this, and I don't know why, because I've seen worse stuff, but what, like, you have to do it. Okay. Underage girls, I could see, kind of. This is already a terrible way to put this, but dear, come on, man. They're so innocent and beautiful. I don't know.
Like by making out, I mean like she turns into a deer, runs into it, and like hearts start flying out everywhere.
Oh, okay. So you didn't actually mean, like, just like,
I mean, that would take animation.
oh,
The show
okay.
is not very animated because it is from the 70s.
So it's not hentai.
TV animation. No,
Okay.
it's not hentai at all.
Okay.
Although you do see, it's a kids show. Although you do see bare breasts at one point.
I mean,
Because 70s.
bare breasts are way better than clothed ones, so I know what you meant.
Bare breasts? Why are you worrying about bears showing their breasts?
It's just like, no, no.
That was Yuri Kumarashi. That was something else.
So is it good?
It was weird.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was like there's a part where her brother almost gets run over. So she's an adult at this time. She turns into an adult to pretend to be her mom to chase away the evil aunt who's gonna take care of them, but who hates children.
Oh, okay.
So she turns into an adult and then starts pretending to be her mom, and then throws the aging candy at the two thugs her aunt has that turns them into old men, and they all run away.
Huh.
But so her brother almost gets run over by a car, and the guy gets out and has like a head. He's like a super like pompous guy with a cigarette in his mouth, and she calls him a bad driver, and he gets really like this offends him. So he asks her to come with him for a drive so he can show her what a good driver he is.
Okay.
For some reason, she agrees to this,
Oh no.
and then how good a driver he is. He drives really fast, and like there's literally a part where they just show a car, and like the cell of the car he's driving just goes above it. Because it's going really fast, I guess.
That's
Like
great.
he runs into some pigs, and then like he like runs over one of them, and you just see a snout, and then it like accordions out into the full pig again.
Okay.
And there's like a scene of like a pig like really freaked out sitting on the top of their car. So then to and then like to stop, she tries to get out, and he handcuffs her to himself.
Okay.
So then she takes a de-aging pill and turns into a baby. And he's going, where'd she go? Is that her? And while driving, he holds up the baby above him and looks up and utters the line, "It's a girl."
Ugh.
And then she pees on him.
Cool. Okay. That's a classy way to end that scene.
It's not the end of the scene. It keeps going. So she starts aging and de-aging. Like, he turns into an old woman and starts yelling at him.
That sounds like the
eventually
weirdest fever dream.
It's really weird. Oh my god. Yeah. He drives off a cliff.
How many episodes are there?
Like 24.
Are you going to watch all of them?
I don't think so. I don't think I'm gonna watch anymore.
Was it too weird? Like, did it go too far where it's like, I'm not invested, really?
I mean, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not nearly as good as... Like, yeah, it's not really very good.
Okay.
And, like, Teska stuff is generally what I've read has been very good. This is not very good.
Okay.
It's just really weird. And it ends with her brother figuring out that it's her. Like,
Oh.
they're, like, bathing together, and he yells at her, "You're not my mom!" Runs away. And then ends with her turning back into herself and then hugging him while naked. Because her clothes do not change shape with her when she transforms.
Of course. That makes sense, actually. That's the least weird thing about all of this.
Yeah, but it leads to a lot of scenes of her being naked as like a baby or a child. Also, there's a scene I forgot to mention where the younger brother, who's a baby, first he takes some of the pills and then grows, and she's freaked out by this, and then gives him too many de-aging pills, and he like turns into what I assume is like a single cell. It's like a little circle she holds in her hand.
Okay.
And then she dissolves some of the aging candy into a glass and puts it in, and it like shows like the cell dividing, like for a really extended sequence of the cell dividing and then turning into a fetus, and then she like pours it out of a cup into a bigger tub.
Wow.
And turns back into a baby eventually. She says, "Oh, you've been born for a second time."
Wow.
It
Holy
has a
fuck.
also the episode ends with like a little montage of slides talking about like what's the difference between a child and an adult. So it's like the lesson of the show part. It's
All
like
right.
the difference is experience. It says where an adult has lived many things or a child has to learn. Because it's like saying how a child and adults can sometimes be the same size, showing different kinds of animals and creatures. So it's like it was like a kid's show to be educational too. It's just weird. It's just a weird thing.
Oh, man. Ugh. Marshmallow brings up a good point. He turns into semen, basically. Just the very base level.
I don't think it goes that far back.
Okay, fair enough.
Like
there has to be like a cell that's
like
been developed at least.
Yeah, a cell that's already gotten all those components into it.
Okay. Barrel?
Ah,
I think it has to
what?
go in because it like you're not gonna watch anymore.
Yeah, I guess. But it's so weird. I don't want to forget it either.
I
I
don't
have
think
to.
you
I guess.
will.
Yeah, I don't think I will.
Hmm.
But I'm not gonna watch any more of that. If the comic existed, I would probably like it were translated in the West. Like if it
Hmm.
had been brought over, I'd probably track that down
Is this a
because
subtitled
like having
thing then?
yeah, it was on. There's like a Tesca YouTube channel where
Oh.
they're subtitled with just like the YouTube subtitling feature,
Oh.
like the cheapest way they could put it out.
Hmm.
There's some old Tesca series is up like that.
Is that how you watch this?
That's how I watched it. I watched it on YouTube.
So anybody could go watch it right now if they wanted to.
Anyone can go watch Marvelous Melmo.
I might watch it. Why not? What do I have to
I
lose?
watched I watched episode 1. That's what I watched.
Hmm.
She did not turn into an animal in this episode though.
Okay.
So I didn't get to see that part.
What about Yurikuma Arashi?
Uh yeah, so I watched episode 8. The
Yeah.
one thing I'd heard about this episode was that it ends on a cliffhanger.
Uh huh.
So it's an amazing troll because it's
Okay.
basically it sets up a situation where everything's great, but there's like a lightning storm. So then there's lightning strikes. So then you can't hear like the next 5 lines of dialogue,
Okay.
and then the entire tenor of the conversation is changed, and it's all now it's bad again. But so they could have had all of that. They had enough time to let you know about all this, but they just said we're not going to.
Wow.
We're taking a week off after this too.
Wow.
So this is a great troll. I
Is
just wanted to like recognize a good troll when I see it.
is that series good?
It's really good.
It's really good. Okay.
It's really. I still don't really know exactly where it's going, but I really like it.
Okay. Cool. All right.
My
Should,
stuff.
should we just move on to the few questions we have and wrap it up? Kind of a short.
Yeah, sure.
It's not even really short. It's been like an hour and some right now. Whatever. This has been good.
Yeah, we talked about a lot of old game stuff.
We talked a lot of
We
Blizzard.
Yeah.
Blizzard
Yeah.
cast. The burning blizzard. Anyway. All right, so 3 Twitter questions this week. The first one comes in from Meowth, and this is directly for you because I have no idea what the fuck she's talking about. She writes in, so Durarara times 2 will get an English dub while it's still coming out from Japan. What are your thoughts on this topic?
So Draw Horizon is an anime that's coming out right now that I am watching.
Okay.
I'm really enjoying, and I talked about last week. So what all this means is the English dub is like an English voice cast version of it is gonna come out before this season is done airing. So basically, they're getting it out quicker,
Okay.
which is cool. Like there are people that want to watch anime that way. Getting it out to them faster is always gonna be better.
Okay.
Like, I don't really care because I'm not gonna watch this English dub at all.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I've been watching subtitled stuff since I was so little that when I watch subtitled stuff, like I like my brain automatically makes the transition. Like I'm hearing it in Japanese, but I'm understanding it in English because I'm reading it at the same time.
Okay.
Also, I kind of like having subtitles because I like to multitask. And if I'm watching stuff with someone, especially having subtitles is good because then we can talk and not miss anything.
Sure. Yeah.
So that like actually becomes a benefit. Like I've watched regular American cartoons with subtitles sometimes when I'm watching them with someone because it's just easier and you can talk over it. There are a couple anime I prefer dubbed, mostly ones I watched as a kid. Like if I'm gonna watch Pokemon, I'm watching that original dub.
Sure. Yeah, yeah.
Also, Pokemon, it's like almost really. I haven't been able to find subtitled version. Like that doesn't even exist really.
Yeah.
But the only two shows like I really prefer the dub are Digimon because
Okay.
they add in like jokes. Like they had script writers for that show to put in jokes, which there are some of the weaker parts of Digimon they make really funny and better.
Okay.
Like, and they try to justify stuff. It's interesting.
Hmm.
And I like their sense of humor with putting in the big power up music in the seasons where episodes are always ending badly. So it's like, yeah, everything's great. Oh shit! Like it's really funny watching it that way. Like
Okay. Cool.
season, but like season three, a lot of the scripts are also being written by like Stephen J. Bloom, who's like a big voice actor, who's
Mm-hmm.
Spike in Cowboy Bebop,
Mm-hmm.
and the other like Cowboy Bebop and Fooly Cooly are two dubs. It's basically even with my opinion on them and the original version.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
The Fooly Cooly one is bizarre because Fooly Cooly was sort of created for a specific Japanese voice actress, but in the American dub, they found a woman who'd never done any voice working who sounds like exactly like her.
Weird.
Really weird. It's it's a really good dub, but it's weird. Like it sounds the same.
Hmm.
The big problem with anime dubs in a lot of cases is the like incidental characters won't be as good.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Because they're
Like
kind of a like afterthought or something.
yeah, and because the thing is, like dubbing work pays less than other voice acting work. So, and a lot of the dubbing shows are gonna the shows that are popular are gonna go for stars over fit in a lot of cases, which I find annoying, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
So like there are like names in anime dubbing, like Stephen J. Bloom or Johnny Young Bosch or something, and they'll like go for them rather than maybe like the best choice for a thing. But and
Oh,
then also
okay.
like the incidental stuff won't be as good. So like in Japan, voice acting is like even more a respected field. So it's just generally better acting coming out of there, which is why I prefer the original voices most of the time. The big exception for me is Dragon Ball.
Okay.
Because the thing with Dragon Ball is because it was dubbed after Dragon Ball Z, all those voice actors like knew those characters really well.
Mm-hmm.
And also that show was like made in the 80s and just the sound quality from the dub is much better than the original Japanese because it came many years later when audio recording equipment had improved.
Right.
So it just sounds better. And
Okay.
also like they're all really good at what they're doing because they have like the experience of doing these characters for a while. So it ends
Sure.
up working really well.
So like some retroactive, basically remastering in a way.
Yeah, basically. But it was the original American version. So it's
Mm-hmm.
the version I saw originally too. So I have like nostalgia for it too.
I like Space Dandy's English because I feel a lot of the like silly jokes or like just him being kind of a dumbass, like a smarmy dumbass, or like some of the
Hmm.
sarcasm and stuff plays better in your native language, I think, than just reading it. So it's one of those things where like the voice tone and stuff and the way the lines in that are delivered, just because I'm an English speaker. Like
Hmm.
like I watched both versions of the first episode, and the dub was just way better to me, the English version. So
Fair enough.
that probably the case I can come up with, but I don't watch a whole lot of dubs either. I guess this anime I have watched has like the actual Japanese anime that I've watched is basically all subtitled. So
The, the stuff that like in Cowboy Bebop, there's one episode that I wouldn't watch dubbed. It's because of the character Andy, who's like the Western version of Spike. In
okay.
Japanese, he speaks English, so it's hilarious. So
Okay.
like you lose that if you watch it dubbed.
Oh,
You lose
okay.
that part of it. There's a great episode in Maru Penguin Drum with a guy speaking English. It's amazing.
I'm gonna have to
Like
check that
late in
out.
the series. Mr. President, watch out! You get that a lot in that episode. It's amazing.
Something to look forward to, I guess.
Yeah. The weird thing though, it's like in video games, I've really liked dubbing in a bunch of games.
Mm.
I like the Persona games. I love the dub.
Okay.
A bunch of those voice actors were in Digimon, so
Mm.
I also have like affection for those voices, and also the 3DS version of Devil Survivor. the big difference between the DS version and the 3DS version. The 3DS version is fully voice acted, and the dub in that is really good too.
Oh,
The
okay.
English casts are really good,
Okay, cool.
and obviously David Hayter in Metal Gear Solid. Like, Why would I want to play that in Japanese? Like, maybe Ground Zeroes, Japanese might be better.
Kiefer. Did you see
So
that?
bad.
What the hell was it? Okay, so this is a complete tangent, kind of.
Yeah,
On
sure.
Twitter, Nathan Fillion was asked, like, would you ever want to reprise your role as Mal in from Firefly? And
Hmm.
he's just like, if not me, then who? Like that was his answer, basically. Like, yeah, of
Uh-huh.
course. Like that's what made me like big, basically.
Yeah.
Um, and David Hayter's response was like, watch out or this could happen to you, and he linked like this picture of a Wikipedia article that for David Hayter, but the picture was of Kiefer Sutherland at Comic-Con.
It's great.
Like it's obvious somebody like probably did that just as a joke to get the screenshot and then circulate it, because I think I
Yeah,
checked
yeah,
it
yeah.
after and Wikipedia had fixed it instantly probably.
Yeah,
But
Wikipedia is annoying about fixing all the hilarious trolls people do to it.
yeah,
Like
that
that time the article on chickens got locked out from anyone editing it because of dinosaur comics that was all about how every vandal should just vandalize the article about chickens
yeah.
because dudes know about chickens.
Were you in that call when we were talking about Corey Haim?
I don't remember. I don't think so.
Was that with
I don't remember anything about
Nathan?
Corey Haim.
I think that might have been with Nathan. We were talking about like so glad that he died or some not glad that he died, but like that Corey Haim was like going to die obviously, so like it was kind of a relief when he did because he was just like a drug
Mm-hmm.
addict, so he had some shitty
Mm-hmm.
problems. And
Mm.
we tried to look up the date of his death, and his reason for death was sadness. Cause of death is sadness on Wikipedia, and
Great.
that's so good because they
Great.
just haven't changed it. They just left it.
Nice.
Yeah, so he died of sadness. Aw.
Oh.
Oh, Corey
I
Haim.
edited I edited a Wikipedia one article once. It was on like the top selling video games of all time, and I had to edit it because I looked at it and it wasn't internally consistent.
How so?
Like they were just like they made it a top 11 just so they could put Halo on there. I remember was one thing.
Fuck.
They counted the Pokemon games separately so that they
Oh,
wouldn't get
god
up
damn.
top.
Fuck. I'm so angry.
So I had to
What?
fix that.
Yeah.
There was also some, I think, where like just the numbers were not. They had like numbers. I don't even know where they got their numbers because all their links were wrong. But just by the numbers they had, things weren't. There were things that weren't in their top 10 that were on like their list of all games or something. It was weird.
Hmm.
Just a mess.
Wow. Ugh. Oh, I was going to ask you before we move on. Is Devil Survivor good?
It's really good. I
Yeah.
haven't finished it yet though. Yeah, but it's really good.
You know, I've been meaning to pick
It's
that up
really good.
for years, and I just never have.
Yeah, get the 3DS version. 3DS
I have a
is better.
3DS. I can do that.
Yeah, it's really good.
Is it on the eShop, like a digital download?
It is.
Perfect. I might
I
do
think
that
it's like
tonight.
20 bucks.
Yeah, okay. I think I saw it used for cheaper, but I'd have to go into a store. Ugh. Fuck that.
I've usually seen it 20 bucks in stores too.
Mm. Okay,
From when I've looked at it.
next
That might have been
question.
the,
Mhm.
the the DS version might be cheaper, but
Oh, maybe it was a DS version I saw then. I
yeah.
don't know if I've actually ever saw a 3DS version of it, because when I saw it on store shelves and stuff, the 3DS hadn't even been out yet. But yeah, I've always hated that. Just like the little
Oh,
cartridge in the middle
yeah.
of a giant empty
Stupid.
case. Whatever.
Well, I mean, it's not that different from Genesis games, just
No, you're
different
right.
scale.
I hated that too.
You need those Neo Geo cases.
Those were cool. They still are cool.
They're fucking expensive though.
They still are expensive too. They're even more
It's
so
true.
because for collectors now.
Yeah.
Mr. Toy writes in, whenever you work on something, you want to completely focus on work and then relax, or do bits of work and relax? So,
I
would you
mean,
rather would you rather work on something and then relax afterwards, just get it done, or would you like to have a kind of
like in
balance?
theory, I'd like to relax a little bit during it, but I find the way I get work done is usually just doing it all at once.
Yeah.
Like that's the only way I get shit done.
Yeah, I
Whether it's
completely agree.
relaxing and then doing it because then I'm under pressure to get it done,
Yep.
or just getting it done and then relaxing. I
Yeah.
had some bad experiences as a kid of getting shit done early and then the assignment changing, so I had to do work all over again,
Oh, wow.
which set up bad tendencies in my head. I'm like, no, I don't want to do it early because shit might change. Everything might
Do you
change.
have an example of like just even make one up of like what you mean how it would change?
Like, I don't. It was a school thing
Yeah.
when I was in like just like we had to answer certain questions and just suddenly there were different questions. Like the teacher changed her mind because she'd given it like way in advance and then
Oh,
changed her
there was something
like
similar.
2 weeks out from it being due as opposed to like a month or whatever.
There was something similar like that in my grade 11 physics class. We had like a physics workbook that everybody got on their first day, and it was kind of like you'll be like having to do certain things every night or whatever for homework, but by like this week you'll be done this part, this week this part. And I was totally that person who was just like the day before like the weekend when we had to hand it in for like final grading, I would do all of it once. I
Mm,
like for school when we talk about school stuff, I liked to learn everything because I'm a very like much a bigger picture type person, how things work
yeah.
together, not just the little pieces and then putting it
Mm,
together. So, and with physics especially, it's one of those things where it's like I can envision in my head like how say an elevator works, but like so like on the test specifically there was an elevator question about like name like the tension and the pull and all like every little part of it. And it was easier to do just knowing how like it operates in real life scenarios and stuff and then figuring it out.
mm,
Whereas like if it was just like figure out the tension of these two things or whatever, like of this rope, that's way harder for me to do the little parts first and then like relate it into how it works on something. I need to see how something works and then I can split it up into little parts. So I was always that person to do everything at the last minute, especially with math and stuff like that too, where it's like I was wanting to do fucking like multiplication before I really got a handle on addition and stuff because it made more sense to
mm.
me like multiplying something by a certain amount than adding two numbers for some reason. It was weird. I don't know. But I'm very much
I just
that
remember
person.
in my elementary school, there were a bunch of kids who would like, it's like a rush to get your homework done before school was over that day.
Uh huh. Yeah.
Like while we were all getting ready to leave, people rushing, finishing their homework before they had to leave.
Or like staying maybe like 2 minutes extra just to finish up and wrap up or something. Yeah. It was worth it.
Mm.
It was just worth it to get it all done and never having to think about it again. And that's how I still do things in my daily life. Like I'll go into work, I'll usually be a little bit late because I don't care. I'll get everything I need to get done, and then I'll have 2 hours of sitting there doing nothing and walking around, and then more stuff will come in. I'll get everything I need to get done, sit around, watch YouTube videos on my phone, then I'll finish up the night. Like, it's just
Yep.
everything in giant spurts as you need to. That's the way I've always done
Yep.
things. Last question comes from Marshmallow. If you could have any indie game get a sequel, what one would it be? Super Meat Boy.
Super Meat Boy.
That's my
Like
favorite indie
that's it.
game. So,
It's the best game.
Limbo would be okay. I'd like to see what else they could do with that. Um, I mean, Super Meat Boy is the answer.
Super Meat Boy is the answer. God damn it! I don't want them to make a fucking iOS endless runner.
I really don't either.
I don't want that.
Yeah, I don't particularly want
Uh,
it either.
I mean, I wanted a sequel to Binding of Isaac for a long time. But
Re-
Rebirth exists now.
Rebirth is basically a sequel, so
Uh, yeah, I can't think of anything else really.
I'll tell you what they
It
don't
really
need any
needs a
more of.
sequel.
They don't need any more fucking tight or like any more additions to the Five Nights at Freddy's series. How does that
God damn it.
how was that game released like 7 months ago and it has 3 fucking games?
Probably really easy to make.
Yeah. And it sells.
And only YouTubers play it.
Markiplier
Only-
has sold like every copy of that game, I think. Oh man, my head hurts. Like why? Why are there so many? It's not that good. It really isn't. Just mechanically, it's not that good. It's kind of interesting in the puzzle mechanics of the first one of having to maintain your power, but they kind of got rid of that completely later on.
I mean, the reason is because you could just keep making more because it must be easy for him to make.
It is basically the Saw of video games for a variety of reasons.
Just keep churning them out until eventually people stop caring.
Yeah.
Ride that money train. Ride that money train.
To be fair, if I could, I would do the same. So, Scott Hawthorne or Cawthorne or whatever. We know. We know.
I want more Super Meat Boy. I want another Super Meat Boy.
Yeah. I kind of just want to play Super Meat Boy now.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
That game's still fun.
It's
I
still
haven't
great.
played all the levels on my computer because I originally had it on 360.
Me too. And then when I bought it on PC, I replayed it. So,
I replayed a bunch of it.
some of those Cotton Alley levels, though, fuck. Some of them are so annoying to get that bandage. Anyways, I think that'll do it. If you had to pick one thing to say, like, this was the best media of all week, what would it be?
For me, I'll go with Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls.
Me too. Let's do that. We'll see you all next time.
See ya.
And before I go offline, go fuck yourself, Mosh. Banned.